Welcome to the Panic Button, everyone. I'm Nina. So Michael Knowles was doing a debate at a college, and he got physically assaulted, and we're going to react to that video. So here we go.
So Michael Knowles exposes this professor point blank to her face live on stage, and she accuses him that his speech is violence.
I'm faculty here. I also support our protester in the back.
There's a student in the back with a sign claiming hate speech equals violence. First, we don't know what hate speech is. That cannot be legally defined.
Yes, because of the
you think that speech is violence?
No, I think that
That's what that sign says.
The conversation that you're having is oppressive.
So there's the claim. The conversation you're having is oppressive.
So I am oppressing people by what I'm doing. So I am exerting violence on people by my speech. That's what the sign says, and that's what you just said.
It contributes to...
And the protester is saying that's exactly what I'm doing, and she's saying that's exactly what her sign means. So that means that you, a faculty member at an American public university, paid for by taxpayer dollars, are conflating speech with violence.
Yes.
This is a real problem because this is what drives people to enact violence, because they believe that they are genuinely, legitimately contending with violence. And that's what leads to acts like what we saw with Charlie Kirk.
Speech can be violent. What you are saying contributes to systemic racism in this country. It means that my students of color are pulled over.
Okay, speech cannot be violent. Violence is a physical action. Violence is someone hitting you or like physically attacking you. It's physical. That's why people get arrested for physically assaulting someone and not verbally assaulting someone. You get it? There's the big difference there. And we certainly don't want laws to be put in place for speech. You know what I mean? Like, these are the same people who are saying, we want free speech, but speech is also violence. So if speech is violence, then in their head, we should have laws where we can arrest people for violent speech. You know, if we lived in their world, that's the kind of world we would live in. The UK.
And accused of stealing a car when they did not.
Perhaps you did have a student that was unfairly pulled over or accused of something. There's no direct correlation between an event like that and what Michael Knowles is saying now.
I'm not pulling any...
Oh, but also, if Michael Knowles' speech is violent, then people on the left, their speech is violent too, right? Because it can't just go one way. If in their head speech is violence, then they have to take accountability for the fact that some of their speech is also violent. But they would never do. Why would they do that? Take accountability? No. See, my rules don't count against me. My rules count against you, the people I don't like. That's why we don't want to be weaponizing speech and making laws about speech, because most YouTubers will be in prison right now.
Over for stealing any clothes. I see many people of many different races in this room. They all seem to be doing just fine. I don't think any of them have felt violence because they listened to a lecture on basic facts about our immigration system.
Someone in the back shouts out a question here.
Are you there to ask us if we felt violence, or are you just assuming that we have?
It's silly to even propose that he would need to ask the audience, have I committed violence with speech? Because you can't commit violence with speech like this.
The question was, have I asked people in this room if they've felt as though some violence has been committed on them? No, I haven't asked, because no violence has been committed on you.
You can't just decide what violence is subjectively.
The only way speech could be violence is if your saliva was made of acid and you were screaming at someone really close to their face, and then your acid saliva got on their face. And then that would be violence, because then their face would be burning and such. So that's the only way it would count in a Marvel universe. That's the only way it would count. But by believing that speech is violence, that gives you now, whoever commits this violent speech, that gives you the right to be physically violent. And that's why Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That I truly believe that is one of the main reasons why he was assassinated, because it gave people on the left the right to be violent against the right, because they believe something that actually doesn't exist, which is violent speech. But I think we all know that people on the left believe in a lot of wacky, weird, deranged things that make no sense to the rest of the public. You know, it is a cult. It really is a cult. They believe in a lot of wacky things, like words can hurt people. No, words can hurt your feelings, but if words are hurting your feelings, that's something that you need to work on yourself. I truly believe that. If someone calls me, people have called me a crap ton of names online, and they don't hurt my feelings. Why? Because I don't care. Why would I care? I don't know you. And words, they're just Words. You can call me fat. You can call me ugly. You can call me old. It's not going to do anything to me because I'm not weak. I'm not a weak person who hears words and then goes and cries. Maybe when I was like 15, 20 maybe, but after that, you grow up, you become an adult, you have more things to worry about than just someone's words, and you move on with your life, and words don't hurt. But if you're a weak vagina, then words hurt your feelings, and they hurt your feelings so much because you're so not right in the head, you haven't worked on your shit, that those words will hurt your feelings so much it will feel like violence. But we need to make sure that we understand the difference between being violent and just speaking, okay? Because the people who are saying words are violence have never experienced actual violence. And I think that's the crux of the problem.
It is an objective line that the law can identify whether or not it has been crossed. When you are calling for violence, that is crossing the line.
This is the foundation of liberal education. If you cannot understand that there is a difference between speech and violence, you don't understand anything that undergirds the liberal arts or liberal education.
I've been to art school for 8 years. I understand liberal arts extremely well. I am an artist.
I went to art school, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I went to art school for longer than 8 years, and I can tell you I didn't learn anything about politics or the definition of fascism or anything really tangible, only the philosophy of Marxism in how art is used in power dynamics. So I'm not sure how this is relevant.
And
I don't think you do. I'm sure you...
I think it's relevant in a way because, well, based on the point that I'm going to make, which is, and we wonder why so much art today is absolute trash. Because the people who are getting attention for their art are crazy people like Goofy and the Glasses here. Crazy people who don't want to be offensive, so they make a G-rated art, and it's always uninteresting, bland nonsense. Like, art used to be offensive and meaningful and passionate. It had to do with experiences and pain and joy and getting to the bottom of truth. I mean, art was, especially in the 80s and then the 90s and before, art was incredibly offensive. I mean, it was all these things, and it moved people. It sparked emotion. But these people believe that sparking any sort of bad emotion at all is violence. So they're not creating art that might spark emotion that might hurt someone's feelings. But the thing is that might not actually hurt someone's feelings. It might actually inspire someone or feel like they're not alone. It might be a relatable art based on the suffering of others. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with art. But these people are so afraid of offending anyone that they make shit art. And that's why today you see a lot of copies of things. You see a lot of recreations of things. You see a lot of remakes of things because they don't have an original idea in their body. And even if they did, which would be like pulling a rainbow out of your butt, they wouldn't create it because it would be offensive to someone, and that's violence, and we can't be starting violence. So, yeah, I mean, you can really connect the dots here.
I've been to art school for 8 years, but you do not understand the
holding up a sign which says disrupting speech is fascism. You are
No, the sign says that one, disrupting speech.
Yeah.
But yes,
you understand?
Yes,
you
these people who are yelling are disrupting my speech, and I agree, it's fascism.
There's a deep irony here because the hecklers in the audience are disrupting speech. So you kind of just cornered yourself with your own definition, which is a flawed definition. Just disrupting speech does not equal fascism. That could be a component, an aspect, a characteristic of fascism. It's a form of wrong behavior.
The other day, I was at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Some protester attacked me with some weird chemical. That was an objective act of violence.
A few days earlier, Michael Knowles was giving a similar speech to a crowd of college students, and it goes off the rails very quickly.
Well, it's very difficult to use my platform when people use the heckler's veto to try to shut up any opinion that disagrees.
Guess what's going to happen next? They're going to start chanting, hands up, don't shoot, as though there's a real threat that the police might just draw down on them and start firing.
Isn't the hands up, don't shoot thing from BLM? I remember this with the orange wallets, where I guess a cop mistook a black wallet for a gun and he shot a guy. So why are all these whiteys using using that. It seems like they're taken away from black people right now. You know what I mean? It's like if they were to walk around chanting, like, we want civil rights. They say that black people are shot by a lot of cops, innocent, unarmed black people. So that's where the hands up, don't shoot came from what I remember. Could be wrong, roast me in the comments if so. But why, if you're white, are you saying that? If you know in your head as a white person that you're not going to have that same problem. So now you're stealing again, right? You're stealing from a minority. Oh, God. These people are actually disgusting.
I don't know what the substance is. I don't know what this is. I think someone threw milk on me or something. I don't really know.
This is what I mean when I describe how the power of stories and people getting captured by a narrative. And the core law of narrative.
It's the power of cult. It's the power of crazy. It's the power of many. It's the power of the cult. Yeah, one person starts and they're like, oh, that sounds good, and I'll start going along with it. I think it was Jordan Peterson who was talking about the people, if we were to be back in World War II, the people who would be the Nazis and the SS, it would be the progressive left. Without a shadow of a doubt, it would be. And they're the ones who call other people Nazis. Tells you all you need to know right there.
Is that conflict drives story. The stories that are most compelling have the highest stakes. What could be more high stakes than feeling like an eternal victim that needs to shout, hands up, don't shoot? This is really interesting because you have students trying to come back in like they haven't gotten enough. It's like zombies. The police just keep pushing them out, this herd.
That's what happens when you assault people, by the way, folks. That's what happens.
In this example, we have a clear, objective line that was crossed. This is not speech, this is action.
I got some sort of paint all over my speech.
So let's keep in mind those words that professor stated earlier.
Disrupting speech is fascism.
Disruption of speech is fascism. Well, according to your logic, who are the fascists in this scenario?
Do you think he's got a girlfriend? This guy right here? I think a lot of these guys are sneaky fuckers. Let me explain. They're dorky white guys, well, most of the time. They're dorky guys who can't get a date and women aren't interested in them. So they pretend to follow along, so much so that they convince themselves to follow along with this ideology in order to get close to certain women so they could eventually roofie their drink and take advantage of them. When it comes down to it, they're just trying to get in women's pants. And they're willing to stoop to the most pathetic levels in order to do so. Those are the kind of guys that women on the progressive left are always around, if they're not non-binary or trans. But at the end of the day, they're all the same type of guy. They're just trying to get in women's pants, and this is the only way they know how to do it, so they're going to be sneaky fuckers.
Oh, these kids are really proving me wrong.
It just reminds me of that scene in Game of Thrones. It's like the people yelling shame are the bad guys. Socialism, communism, and fascism kind of tied together in this fantasy world. This false prophet wielding the masses for power. It's an interesting archetype.
I don't know why anyone would want to be around those people. I would rather jump into the falls at that point. It just shows you the amount of emotional regulation that these people have, which is absolute zero. They're going to have to be professional protesters for the rest of their life, because I don't understand how they're ever going to get a job if they're this mind-numbing to be around. If they're this, if you have to walk on eggshells just to be around them. I don't understand why anyone who has a personality would want to expose themselves to those kind of people. I know the kind of job that they could get. Inmate chaperones. They go into prisons and they chaperone inmates. They could do that, because then I guess they're helping their group out, right? Because they're for criminals. So they're working alongside someone that they're fighting for, and we don't have to be around them to listen to their nonsense and crazy. And maybe they can also learn a few things having that kind of job, because then when you do actually annoy someone you're chaperoning, they'll show you what real violence is. And you'll get a very good life lesson right there without having to make innocent people suffer by you merely existing. Anyway, like and subscribe, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.